Now during the course, we'll be using something called Jupyter Notebook extensively. Not only is it where we'll be writing our code and learning the ins and outs of Python, but it's also where we will see and observe the output of our code to ascertain whether it's working correctly or not. If you are already familiar with Jupyter Notebook and want to skip ahead to the main content, feel free to do so. This video is for those who want to install and learn how to use Jupyter, as well as pick up a few shortcut tips when working in a notebook. So what is Jupyter Notebook? Well, Jupyter Notebook is an open source web application that can be used to create documents that contain live code. But not only can you write code in notebooks, you can also include equations, visualizations to observe your output, and narrative text, which can help explain to users what each section of your notebook is doing. Now, once you've created a notebook, sharing it with your intended audience is easy, and I'll show you how you can do this. Now, a little interesting fact for you is that the name Jupyter comes from the main languages that it supports, and these being Julia, Python, and R. Now, Jupyter comes with what is known as the IPython kernel, which allows you to write your programs in Python. But there are actually over 100 other kernels that you can also use. So if you're keen on learning other programming languages, utilizing a Jupyter Notebook would be a great place to do so. So with respect to installation, well, firstly, if you've previously installed Python from their website, Jupyter Notebook is not included. So if you want to use it, you'll need to install it. And to install it, providing you are using Python 3, you can use a handy tool that comes with Python called pip. So in your command line, you can write something like pip install Jupyter, and then Jupyter will be installed. Now for me personally, whenever I install Python on a machine, I use the Anaconda distribution. And why do I do this? Well, Anaconda comes with many pre-installed libraries that are commonly used in data science, and this includes Jupyter Notebook. So you don't actually need to do anything other than install Anaconda itself. Very simple. Okay, so if you followed along with my installation of Python utilizing Anaconda, we're ready to dive in. So a good start would be to learn how to open Jupyter Notebook. All you need to do is open up your terminal application or command prompt and go to a folder of choice. So for example, if I utilize my Anaconda prompt, I can navigate to a folder destination of choice, just like we saw in the last video. So let's say I enter a folder that I've set up called Python. I can type cd Python to navigate to it. What I can then do is type Jupyter Notebook, and it will open up a web browser. This should open up Jupyter in your default browser, and you will see a URL which looks something like this: localhost:8888/tree. And your browser should now have a list of files that look familiar. In fact, it will be the same structure as the folder you selected in your command prompt, which in my case was the Python folder. So it has all of these files in it. Now at this point, you're not actually running a notebook, you're just running the notebook server. So to create a notebook, all you need to do is click on the new button here, and it will open up a list of choices. Now on my machine, I only have Python 3 installed, so I can click on Python 3. If you had multiple kernels for other languages, you could select on one of these. But seeing as we're learning Python, Python 3 is exactly what we need. You will then be presented with a notebook that looks something like this. And you're going to become very familiar with this type of view because 90% of the course will use Jupyter Notebook. Now the first thing that may grab your attention is the name of the file. Currently at the top you can see that it says Untitled. Now this is the title for the page and it's the name of your notebook. Untitled isn't a great name, so let's change it. Just move your mouse over the word Untitled and click on the text. You should then see an in-browser pop-up which says Rename Notebook. So we can type something like Jupyter Notebook Overview. When I click Rename, you can see our notebook is now set up and it's titled accordingly. So we're now at the point where we can start writing code into the notebook, and there are many hints and tips that I'm going to share with you in the next video that will make your experience working with Jupyter as smooth as possible. So I'll see you in the next video.